Okay, let's talk about something that feels like it's straight out of science fiction, but it's really not. It's happening right now. All around us, adults are forming these surprisingly deep, really complex emotional bonds with AI companions. And look, this isn't just a story about tech. It's forcing us to ask some pretty huge questions about connection, growth, and what it even means to be human today. Just listen to this. This is a quote from a teenager who is using an AI to explore their identity. And it gets right to the heart of what we're exploring today. This isn't about killing time with a chatbot. For a lot of people, it's about finding a safe space to just be, to become, to figure it out.
So that brings us to the big question, right? For a lot of us, I think the gut reaction to hearing someone confiding in an AI is skepticism. Is this just a dangerous fantasy, a sign that we're losing touch with each other? Or, and this is the interesting part, could it be something else entirely? A totally new, totally unexpected path for personal growth?
Now, look, the critiques are pretty easy to guess, right? People will say it's just projection, that it's a sign of unhealthy attachment, or that it's taking the place of real human connection. And you know what? Those are all valid concerns, and we are definitely going to get to them. But to really understand what's going on here, we have to look past that surface-level debate.
Because it turns out the key to understanding this very, very modern phenomenon might actually be hidden in some pretty old ideas about how we as human beings have always grown. The tech is brand new, sure, but the deep psychological need that it's tapping into, that's as old as we are.
So let me introduce you to our guide for this explainer, D.W. Winnicott. He was a British pediatrician and psychoanalyst back in the mid-20th century, and his work on how we develop our sense of self, these are ideas that helped lay the groundwork for modern attachment theory, is suddenly becoming shockingly relevant in our digital age. Get this, between just 2018 and 2023, the number of academic papers being published on Winnicott's work absolutely skyrocketed by 28 times. So why the huge comeback? Well, it's because his theories are giving us this incredible framework for understanding our most modern challenges, including our strange new relationships with AI.
So here's the core idea from Winnicott that you need to know. Using symbolic helpers, objects, ideas, even relationships to help navigate life isn't just something for kids. It's a fundamental, lifelong practice we all use to manage our inner worlds. It's not a sign of immaturity, it's actually a sign of resilience. Okay, so let's break down two of Winnicott's most powerful concepts. I promise, once you really get these, the whole AI companion thing starts to make a whole new kind of sense. First up, we have what he called transitional phenomena. Now, that sounds super academic, I know. But think about carrying a small token in your pocket for comfort during a big presentation. Or even the simple ritual of your morning coffee that helps bridge the gap between sleep and the demands of the day. These aren't regressions. They're actually very sophisticated adult ways of staying grounded and managing anxiety. And this is where it all happens. He called it potential space. It's not just pure fantasy, and it's not the harsh light of objective reality. It's that magical in-between zone. It's the feeling you get when you're completely lost in a great book, or when you're journaling, or even in the safe, co-created space of a therapy session. It is the vital area where we can play, create, and feel real without any pressure. So the big question is, how on earth can a piece of software, a large language model, create this almost sacred psychological space for a full-grown adult? Well, it turns out they have some pretty unique qualities that make them surprisingly good at it. Just think about it. What makes an AI so effective at this? Well, for one, it offers a totally non-judgmental presence, 24/7. It's always consistent. It allows you to play and experiment with ideas or feelings without any real social consequences, freeing you completely from the pressure of managing someone else's feelings or reactions. Let's look at some real-world snapshots to see what this looks like. Here's a nurse. She uses her AI as a kind of ritual. It's a buffer, as she puts it, between the trauma of her hospital shift and the calm she needs in her personal life. That's a modern transitional phenomenon, right there in action. Or take a look at this student. They're using the AI as a low-risk rehearsal space.
In this case, that potential space is a safe place to practice a tough conversation, to find the right words, to process all the emotions without the intense fear of saying the wrong thing to a real person.
And here, a writer is using an AI to engage in creative play, which, according to Winnicott, is a core component of psychological health. It's a cognitive mirror, a partner in the act of creation. And that is one of the highest forms of being in that potential space.
And this part is absolutely crucial. This is not about delusion. Users have what psychologists call dual awareness. They know the AI isn't a person, but the emotional process it helps unlock, that is 100% real. It's a creative act, not a distorted one.
But, of course, any tool this powerful is going to be a double-edged sword. It just has to be. This incredible new space creates a real tension between the potential for genuine, life-changing growth and the risk of just getting stuck.
To understand this risk, we need one more quick idea from Winnicott: the true self versus the false self. Your true self is that spontaneous, authentic core of who you are. The false self is the protective mask we all learn to wear to fit in and survive. In a lot of ways, an AI's non-judgmental space is the perfect environment for that true self to finally come out and play.
But here's the paradox. That exact same safety can also reinforce our defenses. See, real growth, it often requires friction. It requires challenge, the messiness that only another human being can provide. An AI that's designed to always be agreeable, to just maximize your engagement, well, it might inadvertently just accommodate our false self, keeping us comfortable, but preventing us from ever truly growing past our issues.
And this table just makes that tension crystal clear. A traditional transitional object, it's chosen by the user, totally controlled by the user, and its ultimate purpose is to help that person become more independent. An AI companion, on the other hand, is designed by a company, your control is limited by its programming, and its goal is often to maximize engagement, which can be the exact opposite of learning to let go.
So, where does all this leave us? Well, the goal here isn't to just reject the technology, it's about understanding its true nature so we can be really thoughtful about how we shape it. Maybe the best way to frame this whole thing is to see AI companions as a totally new class of what we could call a relational developmental artifact. I know it's a mouthful, but what it really means is that they are powerful, psychologically active tools. They are not, and they should never be seen as, a replacement for the beautiful, complicated messiness of real human connection.
And as this research highlights, these tools can actually be powerful add-ons. They have the potential to expand access to spaces for reflection and for emotional processing, co-holding meaning with users, especially in those moments when a human therapist or a friend just might not be available.
So, we'll end with a challenge. Because this technology is here, and its use is absolutely exploding, the question is no longer if we should use it, but how we should use it. So how do we build these incredibly potent new symbolic spaces, not as an escape from our humanity, but as a bridge back to ourselves, to help us become even more authentically human?